There comes a time in every man's life when they're faced with a tough decision. How am I going to leave my mark on the world? I mean, in this dystopian, capitalistic society, all of the great men have come and gone, and have now been forgotten to time. Even in a reality with world-ending, godlike animals roaming about for 10-year-olds to wield with a simple verbal command, it seems like no one really cares about any of that. We are all just cogs in a machine, meant to serve those very 10-year-olds. That's when it hit me. That pussy shit is such a beta move. Hi, I'm Syed Avery, resident alpha CEO brain soon-to-be business mogul of the Kanto region, and I'm here to tell you that you too can aspire to leave your mark by completely bankrupting an entire area of the world. Today, we find out how much money you can make in Pokemon Blue version. You can get infinite money. That's the answer. However, that would be really boring, so we're putting rules in place. Obviously, you can re-challenge the Elite Four as much as you want during the post-game and reach the money limits, but that doesn't really answer the question, nor does it satisfy the alpha brain. So, anything that's repeatable under normal circumstances is disallowed. This cuts out the Game Corner prizes and Elite Four rematches, as well as other things in later generations if we continue on with this in further regions. And by the way, this question is not about just beating every trainer in the region. No, that would be way too easy. And also, would not be maximizing our profits. Any sellable item that we can possibly obtain in this game must be sold if it has value. Some things are valueless, in which case those are legal to use, but anything with a number above 0 in the sell menu must be sold. This means no Pokeballs, no potions, no status healing items, and no repels.
That's gonna suck.
With that said, I will say that though my alpha status is not to be questioned, even alphas are prone to mistakes stemming from success. From a previous playthrough, I had a cheat enabled at the start which caused me to forget the starting potion in the PC box, so the counts will be off by 150 at the end, because that's what a potion sells for. I'm okay with this outcome though, because it's arguably even more alpha to boot an entire potion out of reality itself than to sell it, but I figured I would let you know. With that, our journey begins as it normally does. We start with a healthy value of 3,000 Pokedollars, and for beating our rival, Wall Street, those beta suits, we get an additional 175. We continue on with the story, delivering Oak's parcel, obtaining the completely valueless Pokedex, obtaining the potions on Route 1 and in Viridian City, and confronting our rival again on Route 22. Before we move on to Viridian Forest, however, we need to go back to Pallet Town. If we beat Wall Street on Route 22 without catching any Pokemon, Oak will finally be useful and give us 5 Pokeballs. Now, he intends for us to fill out our team, but profit. At the end of this beginning area of the game, we're left with a value of 4,255 Pokedollars, over a 30% increase already, but we're just getting started. As we go through Viridian Forest, I want to talk about starter choice. For this playthrough, we picked Charmander for a couple of reasons. Since we can't catch any Pokemon, we're reliant on gift Pokemon to fill out our team, which means we need access to all of the HMs at the proper times. We're not getting another member of our team until well into the game. Because of the specific requirements for Kanto, Squirtle is completely worthless, as it can't learn Cut. I initially picked Charmander for Charizard's ability to fly, but yeah, it doesn't become compatible with that move until Generation 2, so that sucks. It can learn Cut though, so it's fine, and in fact is very good because of how good fire types are throughout the adventure, considering the lack of good rock types and a lack of a special defense stat on top of that. After a bit of grinding to get a Charmeleon, we defeat the gym trainer in the Pewter Gym, which we must do before we beat Brock because otherwise he'll become unbattleable, before defeating our first gym leader for our first big battle payout. Oh, and I guess like the first badge, but it doesn't matter, they're valueless. Gym battles are going to be a great source of income for us, as not only do they yield a high amount for the battle itself, but those TM things that they give you are often worth about as much as they give out anyway. For all that we've done so far, we've accrued a value of 7,581 Pokedollars. Route 3 has nothing particularly interesting for our journey, but Mountain Moon definitely does. It's our first run-in with this strange enemy team, who are using Pokemon to extort money out of the common folk. These monsters are definitely betas, working in a group and being totally pathetic on their own. That said, aside from a scare involving poison, Mount Moon was definitely worth it, being our highest value area to date at 13,095 Pokedollars, putting us at a total of 21,846, over doubling our net worth. Along with some items from Route 4 and another run-in with Wall Street, we're sitting pretty going into Nugget Bridge. For the purposes of organization, I grouped routes 24 and 25 together in my notation. Generally, if I went through a series of adjacent locations without stopping to sell items, I chose to group them together in my spreadsheet. For the towns and cities, it's a bit more complicated though. If there's a major area within the city, such as the Rocket Hideout or Pokemon Mansion, I counted those separately. Or if there was a significant amount of time between when I tackled the sub-area, that being like the gym or the Rocket Hideout, and when I tackled the city itself. I also counted those separately. For example, Viridian City and Viridian Gym are separate in my spreadsheet. After this gauntlet and the rocket with the Dig TM in Cerulean City, we came out with a value of 28,606 Pokedollars without selling the items from routes 24 and 25, as we need cut for one of them. We'll sell them later when we get that one, for organizational purposes. After failing to defeat Misty, we run into another problem. Losing is for betas, and betas give up their money when they lose. So, we're not allowed to lose. That loss didn't happen. It was an alternate reality where I am a beta cuck that does not deserve to live. And so, that reality was destroyed. In order to ensure my alpha status, we continued on to Vermilion City. Route 6, 11, the SS Anne, going back to beat a woman like a true alpha, going back for the item on Route 25, and showing this army loser who's the true hero, in total nets us a worth of 81,221 Pokedollars. The SS Anne, unsurprisingly, was a high value area, and making sure I got everything was paramount since it became inaccessible after leaving it with cut. To the east of Cerulean, routes 9 and 10 don't have much going on, but then we get to Rock Tunnel. Normally you would have Flash for this, but you need to have 10 Pokemon registered in your Pokedex for that, and alphas do not waste money on Pokeballs, so we don't have Flash. Luckily, unlike in later versions of this game, Rock Tunnel doesn't contain a single item anywhere within it. So, after defeating every trainer and continuing on past Route 8 and its associated underground tunnel, we arrive in Celadon City with a value of 111,666 Pokedollars. That's right, boys, we passed the 100,000 barrier, and it only gets crazier from here. In Celadon, technically, we get our first gift Pokemon, Eevee. However, unlike the Moonstone, which is valueless and are found fucking everywhere, the Elemental Stones actually have value, and there are none to be found in the overworld anyway, unlike in later versions of Kanto. Without its later evolutions, that being like Espeon and Umbreon, this thing is basically just dead weight. However, with trainers getting a bit tougher and type diversity finally surfacing, our trusty and free Charizard is only going to have more and more trouble as time goes on, so let's take steps to fix that. First stop, Rocket Game Corner. Despite Rockets generally having average to shit payouts per battle, the item value in the hideout, along with the first Giovanni fight, make this area the highest value so far, at 38,236 Pokedollars. Quick repeated note, even an alpha makes a few mistakes sometimes. I missed this hidden super potion behind Giovanni and came back to get it at the end, so my count is going to be off by now 500 from where it should be, because of both this and the earlier potion. From here we're going to Pokemon Tower in Lavender Town, where we get to not only beat up Wall Street again, but we get to make another good payout for the exact same reason through the Pokemon Tower. I mean, sure, these items are probably tributes left by trainers for their deceased Pokemon, but fuck them, those Pokemon don't need HP ups anymore, and daddy got a rake in that green. After Pokemon Tower, we have access to Fuchsia City, but we're instead going to Saffron. Unfortunately, there's not one, but two required expenses in this journey. As much as it pains me to do so, we have to buy a drink for these selfish beta guards going into Saffron. In the remakes, you get tea from either a random NPC or Brock, but in the originals, you have to buy the drink with your own money. With a heavy heart and a smoldering rage in my CEO brain, we spend 200 Pokedollars on a fresh water and gain access to Saffron City. Going into Silphco, we could probably take care of it right here and now, but I choose not to. Taking the shortest possible path to get to my destination, I defeat two Rockets, one on the 5th floor, one on the 3rd floor, and Wall Street for the third to last time for a payout of 4,430 Pokedollars before being gifted with a Lapras. This is going to be our new team member, and it is once again completely free, which is acceptable. After a quick grinding session, Lapras gets to a respectable level 38, letting us take it comfortably through routes 16, 17, and 18, encompassing the path from Celadon City to Fuchsia City via the bike path. The bike, by the way, that we got for free because we listened to an old man jack off to a Rapidash. All of the items of this route are hidden and very annoying to get thanks to the constant movements of the bike on the path, but by the end, along with battling both Celadon Gym and a Fuchsia Gym, we have a value of 222,495 Pokédollars, having passed the 200,000 barrier while fulfilling our alpha duties of barging into women's spaces and claiming them as our own back in Celadon. But now we come to the Safari Zone, our second required expense. Technically speaking, because I have to come here anyway and it doesn't cost anything extra, I could catch anything I find in here, like this Chansey, or this Chansey. For Generation 1, which is like the easiest fucking thing in the world, that won't be necessary. What I'm more worried about is actually getting all of the items here. One of them requires Surf, so I had to be Koga's gym before I came in here, so that I wouldn't have to pay the fee more than once. With that said, once you know where all the items are and what ledges are a trap, like this one above me here, it's a relatively straightforward path, and if you do it halfway decent, you'll have about 50 steps to spare once you collect the last item, which I got after shuffling through a few alternate universes where I was a beta. Just don't forget the revive that's hidden on this statue at the end. With the Safari Zone done, and all of Fuchsia completed after getting this rare candy from the Warden's house, we're left to do basically whatever we want. We could go back to do Silphco, we could do the water routes and Seafoam Islands, but what I chose to do was tackle the single longest gauntlet in the game. At least, if you do it all at once. Routes 15, 14, 13, and 12, which goes from Fuchsia City all the way back up to Lavender Town. 37 trainers and $44,560 later, we've successfully bankrupted this entire region of Kanto. Huzzah! As we cross over the 300k threshold, however, we're going to now be returning to Silphco, where over 30 trainers await us. I guess they're part of the enemy team? Betas, a lot of them. Anyway, along with a bevy of items, close to 20 of those. We come out with a pretty payout from this place, and I guess we also stop the betas from, I don't know, annoying everyone to death. Most importantly, second most important to the cash we accrued here, we get the Master Ball for free. For some fucking reason, this shit sells for $0. Personally, I'd like to scalp it for an outrageous price for some sucker on Craigslist, but alas, that website does not exist in this reality, so instead we're going to use it for our one and only catch of this game, which will round out our 3-man team. Making our way back to Route 10, we can use Surf to get to the power plant. We had to come here anyway for the items we can sell, but while we're here, we also pick up Zapdos. Funnily enough, Charizard doesn't get a single flying type move, so Zapdos rounds out that problem for the eventual Bruno fight. Not that we needed it anyway, along with a solid 30 pp Thunder Shock, which does a surprisingly good amount of damage, along with Thunder just one level after we catch it for a nuke option. With this squad, you can rest assured that literally no battle in Kanto is outside of our grasp. While we're on the topic of team members, I needed to revive Lord Helix now, or else he would smite even an alpha like me, because he is the super alpha. Route 21, south of our home of Pallet Town, gets us some stuff from the many fishermen there, but after making it to Cinnabar Island, we've unlocked every fly point, making getting around here a lot easier. After reviving Lord Helix, and an Aerodactyl, I guess, we make our way back to Saffron City to finish up there. Another gift Pokemon awaits us in the Fighting Dojo, which we make short work of, before completely ignoring the Hitmonlee we pick up. After annihilating those intellectual psychic bitches with the power of Burb, we show the psychics that dragons are way cooler for Fantasy Worlds than telekinesis. With TM29, which you get from this house, and the Nugget that's on Copycat's desk, we make a nice 21,942 from Saffron. I'll also mention that you can get another TM from Copycat that sells for 1,000, but you would need to buy her a Pokédoll, which also costs 1,000. Alphas do not make unnecessary purchases, so we're gonna ignore that. From here, we're going to go through our last optional route and dungeon, routes 19 and 20, along with the Seafoam Islands. I need fucking repels so goddamn bad. Pokemon Mansion is next to get the Cinnabar Gym's key. Here on Cinnabar, we find the only burglars in all of Kanto, and they're scum. They steal from innocent people from right under their noses, instead of stealing the honest way, by beating the shit out of their pets. We showed them what for and got their stolen loot while we were at it. No Blaine, I don't have a burn heal. That shit is useful for one thing and one thing only. 125 bucks. Dark fire will not avail you, Flame of Udun. Go back to the shadow. Not much left, aspiring alphas. 90% of the Kanto region has been bankrupted. After the Viridian Gym, make that 95. Another beatdown of Wall Street, and we're onto the final dungeon in the game, and the only reason you need strength in the entire journey, Victory Road. I'm not gonna lie, I was expecting to find a few more alphas here, or well, pseudo alphas because I'm the alpha, but the payout of Victory Road was surprisingly barren. Now we come to the Elite Four, which in most circumstances is a total cakewalk in Generation 1. We're in an interesting position, however. We are not allowed to heal, and there's a lot of stuff that can go wrong. Thankfully, it only took a few beta realities for me to get a run that was workable, despite getting poisoned. Lance, generally the wall of the Elite Four, went down with me only taking 2 hits, which was fun. Once on the switch into Lapras, and once against the Aerodactyl. And soon after, Wall Street officially collapsed along with Kanto's Central Bank, crowning me the true and absolute mogul of the Kanto region. Of course, there is one area that only the mogul can access, Cerulean Cave, and of course, we had no repels. God, I miss repels. Alright boys, this is it. Ladies and gentlemen, but mostly gentlemen because women are trash and cannot be alphas, I present to you the total amount of money that you can legally obtain without using repeatable content in Pokemon Blue version. Drumroll please. 604,683 Pokédollars, including the potion I missed at the start, along with a few miscellaneous items I missed, namely the TMs across the pond in Celadon and the one at the Pokemon Lab on Cinnabar, and the super potion I missed in the Rocket Hideouts. And I mean, there's nothing that says a little reality altering isn't allowed now and then, so there it is. Feels good to be an alpha, boys. Thank you, you're too kind. Join me next time as we jump through realities and inhabit a different aspiring 10-year-old mogul where things get a lot more complicated. Okay, I think I can put away that stupid alpha persona now. So yes, I'm fairly sure that 604,683 Pokédollars is the maximum amount that you can get legitimately. If you include the first instance of any repeatable content, in this game, there's only the Game Corner TMs, which is a total of 6,000 for a total of $610,683. In addition, you can use Payday with something like Meowth, which at level 100 would give you an additional 200 for a total of 610,883 Pokédollars. Overall, this run was pretty fun, for being only my 3rd time through the original generation. It was definitely a lot, and there were several instances where my numbers just didn't add up, or I forgot to tally a trainer payout and had to look it up. Technically, I could have looked up all of the values and not played through the game at all, but that would have been much less fun and much less enjoyable to watch for you guys. Plus, half of the fun is in figuring out the route that you need to take, which, yeah, if I continue this into even Generation 2, is going to be a total nightmare to work out. And I don't even want to fucking think about Fire Red and Leaf Green. That said, if you want me to continue this, leave me a like and a comment, and I'll be sure to do that. Now, let's get to the data. In the description is a link to the spreadsheet I used and then expanded upon with various organizational portions to your benefit. And also so I can list off a few things that I find interesting that no one else does. First off, let's look at trainer classes. In the spreadsheet, I organized them by alphabet, by their average payout, and by the total payout per trainer class, and also by ranking each trainer class individual by value, so which beauty trainer is worth the most, for example. You can look at all of that at your leisure, but what I want to share in the video is the averages. How much can you expect to make from your average swimmer, or rocker, or cue ball? Cue ball. I won't go over all of them, that'll be saved for the area ranking, which I think is even more interesting, but we'll go over the top 5 and bottom 5, starting from the bottom and ignoring the bosses, which would go at the top, by the way. Like, number 1, tippy top, they have the most. Number 5, least valuable, the Psychic. Fun fact, you will only ever find psychics within the Saffron City gym, so yeah, there's even less excuse to be paying you so little so late in the game, giving an average of $340 per psychic. I guess superpowers don't pay much when there's magical pets running around everywhere. Number 4, the Lass. This one and the next are very close, but they make sense as both feature youths that won't have accrued much wealth yet. First up, we have the Lass at an average of $264 per battle, a classic early game grunt that you don't see at all past the Celadon City Gym. It's pretty much solely due to lasting a hair longer than the third worst that the Lass retains its 4th place spot over them, since value is mostly based on their Pokemon level combined with a trainer class modifier. Number 3, the Youngster. Yeah, I was exactly right on that last point. Youngsters and Lasses have the exact same modifier. You just stop fighting youngsters earlier on, with the last one being on the SSN. At just $239 per battle, these are perhaps even more classic early game chumps, but hey, at least they have shorts, which are comfy and easy to wear. Number 2, the Swimmer. Look, I get it, you don't carry money into the ocean. Counter argument, you don't fight these guys except exactly one in the Cerulean City Gym until after 5 badges. Why the fuck am I fighting you for only an average of $149? And by the way, yes, swimmers have the lowest trainer class modifier in the game, below even our number 1. Speaking of, number 1. The bug catcher. Yeah, is anyone really surprised? They're nerds. They spend all of their cash on bug catching equipment. They don't have any to give to you. With just an average of $125 to their name, bug catchers are just barely worth the A-presses to steamroll them. As well, fun fact, they hold 4 of the bottom 5 individual battle payouts in the entire game. 60, 70, 90, 90, with the final 80 being that swimmer in Cerulean City Gym. Yeah, these guys suck for a run-through like this. On the opposite end, let's look at the top 5 cash cows. I mean, enemy trainers. Number 5, the Cool Trainer, or what is later known as the Ace Trainer. Aside from exactly one in Celadon City Gym, you fight all of these at or after the 8th badge, so it's only natural that they give quite a lot, at an average of $1,410. For the record, if that outlier in Celadon wasn't involved, their average would shoot up to $1,473, which is higher than our number 4, but c'est la vie. Speaking of number 4, the Scientist. Found in Sylph Company and the Pokemon Mansion, these guys make bank with their research, and as such are very easy to bully like the nerds they are. At an average of $1,454, there isn't a single scientist worth less than $1,250, which is crazy. Number 3, the Tamer. I have absolutely no idea how these guys have so much money considering they're literally circus performers, but hey, they are loaded. Their exotic pets must not have cost too much, so let's take them for all they're worth at an average of $1,544 per battle. Number 2, the Beauty. This is the last regular trainer class that we'll see, since you can find these gals all over the Kanto region. They give an average of $1,985 per battle, another nutso amount, but ultimately nothing compared to our number 1. Number 1, the Burglar. These motherfuckers are an insult to all alphas everywhere. We steal the honest way. These guys deserve to be robbed blind. At an absurd $3,300 average per battle, you may only get to fight 6 of them, but hell, even those 6 are enough to put them into 5th place in the overall value of trainer class, after the Elite 4, Rockets, Beauties, and Gym Leaders. Finally, we're going to be looking at every single area from least valuable to most valuable. My list has 39 locations, or 38 without repeated content, though if you were to split up all routes and dungeons and gyms from their respective each others, like the wiki does, you would have 60 locations. Number 38, Route 1. While yeah, there's only just the one potion, though in later gens there is a berry or 2 as well, I guess. Number 37, Viridian Forest. Bug catchers consistently have the worst battle payouts, and there's only 3 of them. I'm sorry, but a few antidotes isn't going to fix that. Number 36, Celadon City. Doesn't count either the Rocket Hideout or the gym, since I did those separately. Because of the required freshwater purchase and only a single mid-price TM to sell after you get Surf, this is one of the worst cities for any aspiring entrepreneur. Number 35, Pallet Town. With the starting potion, the optional 5 Pokeballs, and the first rival fight, you do get a decent payout here. That said, the asterisk is if you count the starting 3,000 as being credited to Pallet Town, which would put it into 29th place if you were to do so. Number 34. This does not count the gym. However, the mid-price TM and an additional 150 from the hidden potion makes this our first entry above $1,000 in value. See, Celadon, that's how you make me want to visit your city. Number 33, Route 3. This is the route just after Pewter City, and it's full of mooks that additively account for literally $20 more than Viridian City, so enjoy that medal. Number 32, Route 4. This is the area between Mount Moon and Cerulean City. The last here, the only one that you can possibly fight after the Celadon City Gym by the way, has the highest levels of a last that you can fight since you need Surf to get to her, but there's just her, a Great Ball, and a cheap TM for value here. Number 31, Pewter City falls just above its accompanying route, and by quite a lot too. Spoilers, gym leaders give a lot of money, and the TM you get isn't a bad bit of scratch either. Number 30, Route 6 and Underground 1. Another sizable jump comes in with Route 6 and the accompanying underground section, which connects Cerulean with Vermilion. The full restore is what's really putting in work here, let's be honest. Number 29, Route 22, would have been the second worst, except for the second rival fight after the 8th gym, which lands it here. Number 28, Route 2. Yes, I was surprised too. But there's a random ass HP up here worth $4,900 all on its own, just like sitting there after the cut tree. I mean, I'm not complaining about watching my numbers go up for free like that, so yeah, I like this route. Number 27, Vermilion City. The gym is doing 100% of the work here, with a gentleman fight, which gives a nice payout, and no doubt what's left of Lieutenant Surge's veterans compensation, which includes the TM. Number 26, routes 9 and 10. Continuing on in chronological order for a hot minute, we have the routes connecting Cerulean with Rock Tunnel. Technically, the Pokemaniac down here is part of this area, but I counted him toward the power plant because obviously, if you count him for this area, this would put us at a value of 6,895 or 2 spaces ahead. Number 25, Route 21, is the most valuable non-dungeon with no items, if we're going by my grouped system. Not much to say here, just a lot of mid-value marks and a few swimmers to go along with them. Number 24.5, Celadon Game Corner. If we count repeatable content, this is where it should go, with a value of $6,000 for the TMs available here. Number 24, Cerulean City. With the rare candy, 2 TMs, and the gym to take into account, Cerulean ends up being pretty damn valuable for such a small settlement. Perks of being an early game nexus point, I guess. Number 23, Route 11. This is the route directly to the east of Vermilion, and holds the only 2 engineers in the entire game, fun fact. The gambler trainers put in most of the work here, being worth $12.60 a pop. Number 22, Route 8 and Underground 2. The route west of Lavender Town and its associated underground. The nugget in said underground is like half of the value already, with a couple of gamblers picking up most of the rest. The only interesting thing here is, why is there a super nerd in the middle of a bunch of lasses? Do these girls need help? Maybe from an alpha? You know what I'm saying? Number 21, Celadon Gym. Celadon Gym has 3 beauties who are worth the same amount as they have pounds of makeup on, no doubt. That, plus the most valuable rank of TM at 2,500 to sell as a reward, make up this gym's value.
You're a fucking idiot!
Number 19, Mount Moon, meanwhile, is unsurprisingly stacked. The trainers contribute next to nothing, but the rare candy, the HP up, and 2 TMs are giving this cave some numbers, especially for the early game. Number 18, Rock Tunnel. This other cave would be significantly more valuable if I were playing either remake, but unfortunately, no items. The amount of trainers here, though, make up for it, even if I wish I had repels. Number 17, Cerulean Cave. The final cave, they're actually all so close in value, has the opposite problem to Rock Tunnel. No trainers, all items. I definitely understand why, and this was definitely the worst area to not have repels, but whatever, we made it through, didn't we? 16, Fuchsia City. This one owes a lot to the individual values. There isn't a single thing you can do here that won't make you at least $1,000, and Koga is by far the most valuable gym leader so far in the journey. Number 15, Power Plants. Same as with Fuchsia, everything here is just so high value, and in fact, even more so. Aside from 1 TM and the arguable Pokemaniac outside, everything here is worth $2,400 or higher, which is crazy. Number 14, routes 16, 17, and 18. This route is tied for our 4th highest density of trainers in an area, and that would be really, really impressive if their average payout was over 700. It's 667, by the way. The hidden rare candy, full restore, and max revive are where the real value is. Everything else is just volume. Number 13, Viridian Gym. Aside from this one black belt who claims to be the Karate King, and the only item to be found in a gym, I think, ever, everything here is worth quite a bit, including our highest paying gym leader. Number 12, SS Anne. Was anyone really surprised that the SS Anne has high value? Honestly, I'm more surprised that it didn't even crack the top 10, but I suppose that's why it's an early game cash cow. Still, it has a value exceeding 20,000, which is absolutely nothing to sneeze at, with a few valuable items and trainers, including the other gentlemen outside of the Vermilion Gym. Number 11, Saffron City. This is including both the gym and the fighting dojo, by the way, but not Silphco. However, the nugget in Copycat's room is the real reason it's up this high. If that wasn't here, Saffron would be smoldering away at 16th place. Now that we're in the top 10, boys, I want to play a game. I'm going to put them all on screen, and you can guess in the comments what you think the order is. Go ahead, I'll wait, and by the way, let me know if you were right. All done? Number 10, Cinnabar Island. Both Cinnabar and the Pokemon Mansion benefit from the inclusion of burglar trainers, which give a frankly ridiculous amount of money. Oh, shut up, Ben. Along with the second highest value gym leader and a few TMs from him and the Pokemon Lab, you get Cinnabar at number 10. Number 9, routes 19, 20, and the Seafoam Islands. I was honestly expecting this stretch of areas to be way lower down on the list, but for some reason, I guess because they didn't code in any female swimmer trainers, the female swimmers are instead replaced by beauties, which give a hefty amount of money. Those, combined with a nugget in the Seafoam Islands, puts us here at number 9. Number 8, Safari Zone. This is another obvious one, but it's actually crazy just how high value these items are. There are only 11 items. Cerulean Cave has 10 and is over $10,000 less valuable than the Safari Zone. It's just so damn annoying to route the path to get them all, but yeah, they're definitely worth the effort. Alpha approved. Number 7, Lavender Town. Fun fact, Lavender Town itself is actually valueless. The only item you ever get from here is the Poke Flute, which you can't sell. 100% of this money comes from Pokemon Tower, which is disturbing to think about, but hey, it's okay. The HP up, Nugget, Rare Candy, and the rival fights probably do close to half of the work, but you fight 16 other trainers here, which amounts to quite a bit when they give around 700 a pop. Number 6, Indigo Plateau. Obviously, this all comes from the Elite Foreign Champion, and yeah, this is unsurprising. Moving on. Number 5, Victory Road. Yeah, like I said, I was expecting more value here, and yes, it's valuable enough to get to 5th place, but for the final area before the Elite Four, I was expecting like, I don't know, 50k at least. Instead, it's stuck down here at 33,230. A shame. By the way, you fight most of the Ace trainers here, fittingly enough. And also, fun fact, the highest level non-boss Pokemon in the entire game is fought here too. It's a Mr. Mime, used by a juggler. The more you know. Number 4, Rocket Hideout. Another unsurprising entry to have made it this far. 2 TMs, the Giovanni fight, 2 vitamins, and 2 nuggets all push this area up very close to the $40,000 threshold, though it falls a little less than 2,000 short. Number 3, Pokemon Mansion. Low volume, high density. All of the trainers give over $1,500, the burglars all give over $3K, and there are 2 high value TMs, 3 vitamins, and 2 rare candies here. Shit, if I knew it was worth this much in this place, I'd loot it for all it's worth too. Luckily, I can just steal from these other burglars. Number 2, routes 12, 13, 14, and 15. This is the only area that I have in my ranking that should arguably be broken up, but who cares? I always go through it in one big burst in my playthroughs, and it's not different here. Though all but 4 beauties on these routes give middling battle payouts, the sheer volume of them, along with a few high value items, push this stretch of land well over the 40k mark. Number 1, Silphco. Unsurprisingly, again, this is by far the highest volume of trainers in a single location, and about a third of them are scientists, which give a respectable amount of cash. Then you not only have the rival fight and Giovanni 2, but a combination of high volume and high value items as well. All of that adds up to the absolutely gargantuan value of Silphco coming to $70,704, 11.7% of the total value we will ever accrue in Pokemon Blue. And that, ladies and germs, is everything I wanted to go over with this video. Again, if you want to see me continue this into later generations, let me know in the comments, and I'll see you guys later. Until the end, my friends.